Hello, and welcome to Gamers Paradise Season 1. Recap! Yep, before I hop into this recap, I just want to let you know what this game is. This game is a game that I made on Snapchat just recently, and we had just finished up our first season. The winner of each season will get a shout out, bragging rights, and an interview that I will upload here on YouTube, which you will see at the end of the video. So, Season 1 had just passed, and I just want to give some credit to our 8 amazing players that had played this game, so let's just flash them on screen. Alright, so those were the 8 people who played in this first season of my game. Now, it's an elimination game, so it went on for about a couple days with a lot of twists and turns. But before I go into that as well, I want to show you our little memory wall that I have made for the competitors. And as they get eliminated, keep that in mind, their picture is going to go black and white. So we're going to go by each eviction as a week. So like week 1, week 2. In reality though, the game didn't really take like 7 weeks to finish. We actually finished it up in 13 days. It would have taken a little longer, but as we go on with the video, you'll see why it was cut so short. But now I'm going to explain how the game goes. The way this game goes is I get everyone into a group chat and I give them a mobile game to play. They have 24 hours to submit a score. Once the 24 hours are up, the player with the highest score wins for that week. The player with the lowest score gets sent to what I like to call the passing. Once they enter the passing, that is basically sort of their final chance to try to get back into the house. Then the winning player gets to select 2 more people to make their way to the passing. Once that is all set and done, the 3 players in the passing will be given another game to play. And again, the same thing goes on. 24 hours, hand me a score, and the player with the highest score will get to go back into the house. The other 2 will then have to plea why they deserve to stay. And then the voting goes. Once the vote is casted, that is it. You can only cast 1 vote per week. So once you have locked in your vote, that's it. That's your vote. But because this is the first season, I sort of went a little easy, and if they wanted to change their mind on the vote, they were able to. But anyway, now that you guys know how this game goes, let's just jump right into the first week and recap the first week. So the first week, we got our players settled in. We had Gio, Mesh, Kelsey, Nick, Dante, and Sarah all settle in to the Gamers Paradise house, group chat, whatever you want to call it. We had 2 other players who will remain nameless, but they had quit right before the game began. So we found them replacements, who were Maria and Tiffany, who were replacing the 2 players that had quit. So I give them a game to play, and again, 24 hours to get it in. Sadly for Gio, he was unable to download the 3 games that I put. By the way, when I put more than 1 game, you only have to download one of the games and get a score in. Whatever game you think is easier to do, you download it and you play it. Now, obviously, most of them, I don't think most of them knew which one would have been easier, so they had to go with what they thought. However, the reason that I do more than 1 game is because those games have the same objective. That's why I give them... So it's not like I'm giving like a Flappy Bird-like game and an Angry Birds-like game. Like, no, those aren't the same thing. So, obviously one is going to have an advantage over the other pretty easily. But anyway, we let the game go, and Nick wins week 1. So already our lowest score for week 1 was Tiffany. So she automatically went down to the passing. Nick then got to choose 2 other players, and he chose Gio and Dante. Those players, those three players, are now in the passing. So keep that in mind. They're in the passing, and now they have to find their way to sort of just get out of there, you know? So I give them the next game, and they have to score the highest in order to get out. So the player that ends up scoring the highest out of all three of them was Gio. Gio was then able to make his way back up into the house. Dante and Tiffany had to then set their pleas. And these pleas, again, they're supposed to help you stay in the game. Now, Tiffany, due to a tragedy, sadly, she, instead of fighting for her chance to stay in the game, she actually chose to go in the opposite route and sort of give them a reason why they should evict her. And sadly, by a 3-2 vote, it was Tiffany that was the first to leave the house. So here we go. This is directly after our first eviction. After Tiffany leaves, the house explodes. And as people are fighting here and there, and there's just a whole explosion going on. And it's all because of Mesh. Yes, Mesh actually caused this by being nice. And in a competition, that is probably one of the things that you want to try not to be. However, then an alliance was formed to take out Gio. So yes, Mesh wasn't the target, it was Gio. Gio started to become the target. So now the next game is given, and Kelsey is the winner of this game. However, the player with the lowest score was Dante, so he was the first to get sent down. Then Kelsey got to choose, and this is where the first twist in the game comes in. So Kelsey makes her pick. So her picks are Gio and Maria. Alright, there you go. Gio and Maria. Now, I go to the passing, and I tell them that the twist in the game is if Gio or Maria win the game in the passing, they choose to save each other, one of them will go head to head with Kelsey in an hour-long challenge to try to get the highest score. And if they win against her, both of them will get to go back up, and Kelsey will get to replace them. If Dante wins, though, Kelsey stays up there, and Dante can just go right back. So, after that is done, the twist is not used. Dante wins and is sent back up. Gio and Maria then plea for why they deserve to stay, and it was a tie. And again, it was a tie because Mesh thought he had to vote to keep someone safe and wasn't aware that he was voting to evict. So, he pulled a Meta World Peace.
I voted for Chuck to stay.
No, you voted for Chuck to go.
However, in an eviction that should have taken Gio out, Kelsey had broken the tie and decided to send Maria home because of unfinished business with Gio. And that is why Maria was the next player out the house. So now we reached the third week. So Maria's gone and we're down to 6 players. Now the next challenge goes in. At this point, things are rising high. Nick and Kelsey mainly have their focus on taking Gio out. Mesh had confessed to the fact that he thought he was voting to save someone. So he thought he was voting to save Gio. So now, here we go. The game is on. The lowest score is Kelsey, sending her down to the passing. Nick wins again. And guess who goes? Gio and Mesh are now down in the passing. So at this point, Nick and the other 3 players that are still up in the Gamers Paradise house are now guaranteed final 5. 5, not 10. What is this? 5. And another game is now given to Gio, Mesh, and Kelsey. But due to the fact that Kelsey has been getting so busy and she hasn't downloaded the game, she decided to self-evict. And I also forgot to explain that everyone heads to the jury house. So Tiffany, Maria, and Kelsey are now at the jury house, ending Kelsey's game right there. So by the picture, you guys already know. The twist for this one was a double eviction. However, they didn't get a challenge. The biggest challenge in the season was how you cooperated with other players in the house. So the 3 jury members were able to vote on who they wanted to see in the passing. And Kelsey sadly didn't vote on time, so Maria was actually able to vote twice. So Tiffany decided to send Sarah, and Maria decided to send Dante and Mesh to the passing. But the same rules still went on. They had 24 hours to play a game and get me their score. The 2 with the lowest scores, though, are out of the house, while the one with the highest score is still in and guaranteed final 3. So Nick and Gio are both guaranteed final 3. So semi-finale, here they go. So the game's being played. Due to Mesh not bringing in a score on time, he was automatically evicted after the 24 hours was up. Sorry, Mesh. So it was down to Dante and Sarah. Dante, with over 5 million points. Yeah, no, that is not a lie. With over 5 million points, was able to return to the game. And Sarah, with a little over 100,000, I think, was the next player out of the house. So Mesh was the first to leave, and then came Sarah. This one's going to be a little quick because there's not really much to say about this one. Final 3 is in, but due to personal reasons, before we could even get the challenge, to the first challenge out of the 3 in the final 3, Nick had to leave, and it was very personal to the point where, and not even I'm going to talk about it because it's honestly not really anyone's business. Hopefully he's doing well. I talked to him like the other day, so hopefully things are doing better for him. But sadly, due to that, he had left the game, and I didn't put him in jury just because I wanted him to sort of focus on his life and not the game, even though the only thing he would have to do was vote for a winner. So out of the 6 people who headed to jury, he was the only one. Out of the 6 people who were evicted, he was the only one who didn't head to jury. So, yeah. So here we are. We reached the finale. This is it. By the by the picture, you guys already know who won, but let me just explain. So this was it. Gio and Dante were able to get their pleas in. They got them in, and the votes were like this. And they were voting on a winner. Jury was voting for a winner. Tiffany voted for Gio. Maria voted for Gio. Kelsey voted for Dante. Mesh voted for Gio. And Sarah voted for Dante. So, by a 3-2 vote, Gio won the entire game. And that's actually really amazing. So Gio won the entire game. So Gio is now the winner. And so right now, let's go into the interview that we had with him right here. Hey, what's up, Derp Nation? I am here now with my brother Gio, who had won our very first game of Gamers Paradise, with Season 2 actually underway in about a week or so. And
hello, guys.
Yep, here he is. And I just want to interview him real quick and, ask him how he felt about the game and about, things that happened within the house. And we're going to go week by week, sort of asking, well, quote-unquote, week by week. Going by, what happened within the house and his feelings towards everything. So, are you ready, Gio?
I'm ready.
Okay, so question number 1. How did you feel when you walked into the house?
I felt like I was up for something. These people already, it was only the first day and people started trash talking. I knew I'd be in for something.
Did you expect to be targeted as much as you were?
Well, I think it was Nick who really started the whole me being targeted thing. I mean, I guess it was kind of expected. Like, Josiah, you should know this by now that we're both competitive types.
Yeah, you bet that. All right, so next question is, how did you feel when the house turned on you after Tiffany's eviction?
I didn't feel anything because I knew I could make the comeback.
Mario Kart bastard. Anyway, so as the weeks went on and more people started dropping, how did you feel about your chances of winning?
To be honest, I kind of felt them slimming down, though. Because my true allies kept going down one by one.
How did you...
The two people who kept targeting me eliminated themselves.
that was actually going to be my next question. How did you feel when the two people who were targeting you, who started the whole thing, dropped out on their own?
I was gonna try eliminating them, but their little stories of why they did it was really kind of sad. I felt sympathy for them.
Well, to be fair, Kelsey only dropped out because she had a lot of work to do for college and stuff. But Nick's story was definitely sad. Yeah, Nick was definitely sad, but
I know, I'm sympathetic for them.
yeah. But all right, so now we're gonna talk about you, Mesh, Sarah, Dante, and Nick in the final 5. When I announced the twist that you guys were going to that you guys had no control over who goes to the passing, how did you feel?
I felt heated because remember, I've been to the passing every other time before. And the thing is, I've kind of only been up for elimination once. That was the biggest deal breaker right there.
And that actually goes into the next question is, were you surprised when Kelsey decided to evict Maria over you?
Yes, actually. She's been wanting to get rid of me the whole time. And then the fact that she only kept me to mess with me, and then eliminate herself the next episode.
Well, it definitely is. But alright, so when you found out you weren't going to the passing, when the jury members had to choose, how did you feel?
I was actually shocked. Shocked up to the point where I just turned off everything and just went down. It's like because I was happy I could finally take a break.
Yeah, so you and Nick should have went head to head in the final 3, but after Nick dropped out, did you feel like your chances of winning increased or decreased?
I think it pretty much stayed the same.
You think so?
Yeah, Dante was a competitive partner as well.
And here's another thing I want to ask, and this is actually about Dante. When I know you guys definitely knew each other before the game. Did you know that it was that exact Dante though until before I posted his picture?
Actually, probably yeah, because that's the only Dante I knew.
All right. Let me see what else I can ask you.
Exactly. I've never met anyone else named Dante.
Oh, well, I've met like 2. And one of them moved. Final question that I'm going to give you here is, did you expect to win by such a close vote? Because it was really close. It was 3-2.
Not to be cocky, but I kind of felt the odds are on my side.
And here's the thing that I think is important to mention, is the fact that I didn't want Mesh to pull a Meta World Peace again. So I had to make sure that he knew that he was voting for someone to win, and then he changed his vote.
What do you mean Meta World Peace?
Oh, right, that's right. You don't watch Big Brother. Well, when you watch this recap that everyone else is going to be watching, you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
But thank you, Gio, for your time. I'm glad that we had this interview, and I'll see you later, buddy.
Go to Dr. Super Gaming Warrior.
All right, link in the description. His YouTube will be in the link in the description. All right, peace out, bud.
Ciao.
And that was it. So there you go. His thoughts and everything right there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this recap. Once season 2 finishes, I will make a recap for that too. So as always, talk to you later. Peace.